street.
Okay, we're here to start the Parks and Rec meeting, June 13th. And we're gonna start off with Jessica Sims, audience citizens. Go ahead, feel free to tell us why you're here.
Just make sure you speak up so everybody can hear.
So my name is Jessica Sims. I'm the Executive Director of Family Promise of Central Connecticut. We would like to have our walkathon again in Crystal Creek Park. We did it last year. You guys were great hosts. And we would like to host our event there on October 5th at 9 o'clock in the morning, probably the afternoon, but we usually end it Saturday, right? Yes.
So for the record, it does not conflict with cross-country meet. So everyone knows. You also are expanding the event this year, so can you talk a little bit about that, what you're adding this year? Whatever you had put in the email, you said you were adding a DJ, you were expecting more people.
So we're hoping to have 150 people. Last year did not have a DJ. But every year, every other year, a DJ has donated his time for the event. If he does not, we will go back to using a speaker, but we're hoping to have him come again this year.
And where would he be set up?
By the gazebo.
You mean the pavilion in the back of the clubhouse?
So
Last time you were only on the other side of the street. So bringing a DJ and getting towards the clubhouse side, now we have to talk about rental process.
so maybe I'm getting.
Last year
Patient.
when they came to us, we approved it because it was just a walkathon. There was no DJ, you weren't selling anything, you weren't charging a fee, it was just donation. But it was all on the opposite side of the clubhouse, which is an area which is just public trails. We explained we can't close that park down. But there's also no rental process through it because it's passive recreation. We don't rent out passive recreation.
Right.
If you're now looking to utilize like the back deck of Pistol Creek or the gazebo, we would have to actually go through the rental process through Pistol Creek, which includes a fee to rent the property as well as having a grounds work as custodian on site for the entire event.
I would actually get.
The gazebo is in somebody's backyard and that's along the trail. We don't have a gazebo on the
Right,
town's.
there was a small, it looked like a semi-enclosure in front of the clubhouse. There was something on the side where we had the,
Oh, it's like a bike rack,
oh,
right in front of the stairs.
okay, yes,
It's just an over. It's like a canopy.
a canopy.
So you're gonna.
Right to the right of the drive, when you're walking in the front door, right to your right,
Oh,
before you go down
where
the
we put
hill.
the lights for
Where we
the
put the lights,
distribution? Okay. Okay, that's different. So you're still not utilizing the building at all, going inside? Okay.
So the DJ is gonna be set up like in the parking lot then, right in front of the building?
In front of whatever that canopy.
Right by the front doors.
Right, so there's like this front door, a couple of steps going up, but
Before the front door, right to your right, is what they use, like an old decoration like bike rack, or like back in the day, you tie a horse to it, it looks like a little railing.
right on the right side. And the parking lot is right in front.
Yeah.
So that's where the DJ would set up there, and then you'd use the parking lot for,
just gathering and registration.
And you're still not selling anything or charging a fee?
so. If, and this might be a big if the parking spaces are needed. Because people are walking across the street using the trails, you're using it as well. What do we do about the parking spots that they're using? Is there-
That specific spot doesn't utilize parking spots, am I right?
Correct.
It's big enough that they could gather and
Yes,
listen to the
Yeah.
DJ and not,
Yeah.
like that. I guess I'm not.
there was a.
It's big enough to hold the DJ and you have about maybe what? Because that's where the cars come in, maybe 20 feet till you get your first parking spot?
We
So
set
no
up 3
parking spaces.
tables. No, we're not on the parking space. We're not restricting parking. There are 3 tables off to the side of the little the canopy.
Any questions? No?
So we'll discuss it as a commission tonight and I'm off tomorrow, so I'll get in touch with you next week and we'll touch base. We have plenty of time, so even if they have more questions and we don't decide anything tonight, we'll touch base. All right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Have a nice evening.
Appreciate it, Jesse.
You guys are welcome to come, whether we have it here or not.
Any audience citizens on Zoom?
Nope.
Okay, hearing none, approval of minutes, and entertain a motion.
So I have some changes to make.
So first make the motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Right, second,
Second.
all right, any discussion?
So on page 2 of the change that I made in the last minute meetings. On page 2, under approval of minutes number 2, Commissioner Star moved blah, blah, blah. And then it says VHS girls soccer team. It was the lacrosse team. I don't know how the girls soccer team would have been around then. So just remove.
Yep.
Girls, it was VHS lacrosse players.
So we move the girls soccer team in.
Right. And on page 3, under Briscoglio Field, besides John Riley's name being spelled wrong, it's not a big deal. It's Riley, and also on the top of page 2. On the third sentence, it says 75% of the people brought their own chairs and blankets. They didn't bring chairs because the reason was they couldn't use chairs on Briscoglio. So somehow chairs got in there, but they used blankets to sit on. Right? So the whole premise is we sent out an email to all the families that they couldn't use the chairs. So about 75% of the people brought blankets. I don't know how chairs got, sort of new chairs. That's it.
Any other changes? Okay, all in favor of accepting the minutes without those changes, say aye. Okay, hearing none. May I entertain the motion to accept the minutes with the changes?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes with the proposed changes.
Second, Joe, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, consent agenda. May I have a motion to accept items A and B?
Make a motion to accept consent agenda items A and B as written.
Sorry.
Second,
Second, I think
okay, Lucas, second, yep. Any discussion, comments?
Just a question about what Donnie had said in his email. So who gets the money? Like, so the CCC sells tickets. Does that circle back to Berlin?
No, it circles back to CCC to pay for the refs and stuff.
So they just pick up the money?
As far as, that's how I
And they pay
understand it.
expenses for
Yeah.
Yeah, last year, when this got brought up, Donna met with Dave to have a better understanding of it and explained it, and then there were no questions at the
So
commission
the-
meeting, so I think that was one that was answered.
Right, and just so everybody's aware too. I spoke with Don too, because one of the other things is, and we verified this, is that no other town charges for their usage for any championships. So,
We asked Dave that, and that's what he said.
and with the soccer championships, they lose money. They charge a fee, they pay refs, expenses, things like that out of there, and they lose money. So, it's up to the commission. If you wanted to entertain not waiving certain fees. They would have to pay that too.
what last year we approved.
You approve waiving it,
Right.
but it has to come up every year.
Okay.
Just a couple of questions that I had asked too is, one of the things is, how clean they left the field and everything after the, tournament.
And they did pay to have one of Steve's guys there, 2 guys, right? You have two guys a night?
Two guys come in the next morning and clean the facility.
And they charge. They pay
They-
for that. Right.
I think it's $65 an hour, times 3, times 2.
And it was in
More
pretty
than
good
times
shape,
three.
if I
It's
remember.
more than 3 hours.
What was that?
Do you remember that it was in pretty good shape? That's what I kind of thought.
Relatively
There was
speaking, yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
So would that be included in this waiver?
No, they pay
No,
for
that
the,
is
they
not-
pay for the
okay,
grounds.
that is
Yeah, we can't.
I understand that. I'm just saying, but is it included that they know that?
They know,
Yes.
they paid that no problem last year.
The agreement we made is Dave would unlock, be the field manager during that time. and The grounds crew would come in the next day and clean it up, rather than putting the grounds crew on the whole entire night.
Yeah.
So that just becomes too expensive.
Do we know if lights were used at all last time? I know.
They were, but it's the busiest time of the year out there. That's our largest
That's it.
usage. So it really, it's pennies on the dollar.
Yeah. I'll just pass on what Don told me is that knowing that other towns waive the fee, would be okay, because he emailed everybody, so that's why I'm telling you. He doesn't get a vote because he's not here, but I just want to pass that on to you. As long as you are all okay. Okay, that being said, we have a motion, second, any further discussion, questions? Okay, all in favor? Motion and. Aye. Accepted. Okay. Nothing report.
Here we go. I gotta keep this short and sweet. That says I can't go over a certain time when we're here.
Well.
Long stuff
I
in
do,
your
it's all right.
section.
I do. So first I have to thank the grounds guys for the amazing job they did this spring. This spring was so extremely challenging with the way the weather was that I don't know how they completed as much as they. It rained 2 or 3 times a week. We only worked Monday through Friday. The sun would come out, they'd want to get a game in, the high school, and it'd be mad dash. So I applaud the crew for the phenomenal job they did and everything they were able to get done with minimal complaints from any organization. The next one is I have to thank Billy de Blasio and the facilities department. They pretty much painted Percival Pool in a day and a half with like 2 or 3 guys. Usually it's a 6-man crew, 30 gallons of white paint, 10 gallons of blue paint. Billy took the bull by the horns, went out there, he painted so much of it by himself, which is just amazing in itself. Matt Sturgeon and a couple other guys, Terlecki, the HVAC guys, the plumbers, and everybody got involved to help it and pull it off. And the only reason the pool is open is because the facilities department went above and beyond the themselves. So kudos to them. Next thing is, I've been trying to grow the network into the department to try to get involved with other towns. So last week we held a field day at Sage Park. There's some pictures of the field day, and we ended up with right around 40 people. Just learning different methods of what other towns are doing with the reduction of staff, how to get our fields in better shape, how to make them perform better, what the main uses are, and how to really alleviate the overuse. We talked about aeration, finding the right time to do it. And what we mean by that is, most of the time, they usually shoot to try to do it in the middle of August through the beginning part of September, and that doesn't work with us because of all of our high school sports and youth sports start at a certain time. So we've learned that a lot of the towns have started to go back to like the beginning of August. So we're gonna kind of try to go that way to get them established. And then the biggest thing was the opening the lines of communication with the high school and people who are saying they're gonna be on the fields and they're not on the fields. Or not understanding that McGee baseball and McGee softball or Rome High School baseball or softball have 2 away games back to back where they're not playing on a Friday and then they're not playing again on a Monday, they're both away. Is that now gives us 4 days that we can get out there and do some maintenance and some work that we wouldn't have been able to do. So we met with Steve, Jen met with Steve and Dave last week, and we kind of all agreed we would find a way to get this going, so that would give us more ability to get on it. The field usage, I mean, our fields are so overused, it's absolutely amazing the amount of play and the amount of people and how often such a large amount of people are on there. And not only the groups that we don't know, but the groups that we do know. And on the handout that's over there is Soccer West. So I don't know if anybody didn't have one, there's a few.
It's not online.
I should-
Pictures online? No?
No,
Not that I
the
know.
field day one is up.
Yeah, field day, but they will pass them out.
Yeah, these we just did today.
Got it.
So we came across this, or we found this in the beginning of April. And it didn't make sense to us where came from, because as of right now, there would have been nobody on the field. As we started to dive into this, we found out that the high school had started an ultimate frisbee team. Their ultimate frisbee team started in March. Our grass fields don't open till April. So we came up, these pictures were taken today, not then. So we started a vigorous aeration and overseeding process where we put right around 600 pounds of grass seed down. Field started to grow, the field started to come in, we had a great conversation with high school. We thought we had turned the corner. I came around the corner last week and saw the wear that's on the field. But explain the wear, it's probably 180 feet by 30 feet, the whole length of the center of that. And it's destroyed, it's hammered. Don't know how Pearl Youth Soccer hasn't complained. So what we've done for now is took a couple pictures. We had a great conversation with Dave. We think he's gonna try to relocate them. And this goes back to the last subject where we want to be able to get, when we know the high school is away at a track meet, that's when we want to be able to utilize ultimate frisbee, put them on Piscataway. Them being on this field last week, there was nobody on Piscataway. So they had no reason to want to play on this field and do this type of damage. So we went out there yesterday, we put another 200 pounds of seed on there, so which is right around $600 to try to get something to germinate. Just like most fields, we've taken all the soccer goals, we've chained them to the fence, so nobody can now go out there and take the goals off of the fence, put them where they want them, create dead spots. We're gonna try everything we possibly can to get this field looking somewhat presentable for the fall season. But if we get 4 weeks of 95, 100-degree weather, we're not going to. So this could come back, Pearl Youth Soccer saying, hey, this field is unacceptable and it's not in great condition, and I would agree. So just throwing that out there.
So, Steve, I walked the field early in the season and it would, even beforehand, the whole middle part was, like you said. But what did get better and then it got worse, it's too bad. They could even have played over in the basement, right? I mean, where the girls kind of little softball field is.
I think it
But
comes,
they go there and they always go there. And I think recently it was a pickup game, it was like an alumni thing. My son goes and that's where they go.
Yeah, the
Like
last
they
week
don't
wasn't
think to go
organized at
anywhere else,
all,
like-
it wasn't reserved.
That's where they go, yeah, nobody's there to kick them off, so that's where they play, Unfortunately, yeah. That's.
exactly, but we're gonna do a better job of paying more attention to these things, getting on top of these wear patterns. I mean, it being on school grounds is a lot easier to call Josh Schwartz. Josh Schwartz, pulls up the camera, he can find exactly what happened when. So when we come back to talk about fields opening next spring, we're gonna make sure that we're very thorough saying grass fields are not open till April 1st. Ultimate Frisbee needs to find a other location.
We don't necessarily want the ball on Sunderell and leave it for
That
soccer.
wasn't my point. I mean, it was the basin over where, it's on the other side.
The basin has been so wet. The problem is we have a $2 million synthetic turf field not being used.
Yeah,
They can use it.
that's a good price for them.
Yeah, it's right. It's very good.
So I will tell you, the field gets extremely, I mean, even if we're doing a practice, some kids, and we're not doing full field, scrimmages.
Right.
They use the nets, I'm fine with that, or on the side, that place, they've got doing baseball on the backside by the track. Father and son, he's hitting the balls, some lacrosse guys are whacking the ball into your beautiful net, I don't know how long it's gonna last, but, just saying. But it's getting a ton of use, which is good.
But the high school has the right to reserve it.
Right.
So if the high school reserves the field for open frisbee, they can go utilize the field that's there on school grounds,
Yeah,
See,
rather than destroy a grass. field.
I agree.
we don't want to necessarily discourage like ultimate frisbee, but if the high school is adding like this club or whatever, you know, we need to let people know so that we can say, okay, but you gotta use this area.
Right, but it's,
That's,
say if they practice Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, my analogy was, that's great, you use Soccer West one day, it's open.
Yeah.
You use the Scoglio one day, it's open, and then next to that, you have with the shot put and the discus, you can use that for one day. They're all relatively 3 fields that are the same size that meet their needs, so we're having one day of play rather than zero. So I think that's kind of where I'm going.
yeah, no, it's all about communication before it starts.
Yep. So I hope we can turn on that, so. All right, Percival Soccer will be the next thing is, Percival Soccer, I think, opened up for right around 3 weeks. We knew with all the rain and everything that happened, the field wasn't performing well, was not playing well. But there was a need to get it open and, you know, they needed to use it. We had a lot of complaints of the field being wet, the water sitting on top of the field, the water not percolating fast enough, kids' shoes being wet. Some abuse in the goal mouth, some penalty kicks, which we all knew was gonna happen. So kind of what our next phase is, we're gonna do some deep tine aeration. We're gonna drive rods into the ground right around 10 inches deep. We're gonna bring in probably 40 tons of sand, spread that on top of the field, room that into the field, and that'll actually, roots, they actually go down a little deeper and get to the deep. The field has bounced back from the use it got for those 3 weeks. But with the field being brand new, you know, that's gonna happen.
Feels good, I mean, aside from the water on sides. Are you put grass seed in where they didn't put, you know, around the back of the goal, the south end of the goal? There were patches there where they didn't put sod in. I guess-
Yeah, when we aerify the field, we'll do all of that area. We'll do the whole, as much as we possibly can. You know, that's our game plan as of right now. You know, the back of some of these areas don't have aeration. So without having irrigation, there doesn't matter how much grass you put there, it's not.
Yeah.
It's just like.
But I will tell you to walk on it, it's like, I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's better than in the Sky Girls flippy, but this is nice, I mean, it's good, kids enjoy it.
Let's see what else. Friendship Place, Tony reached out to me near the end of the last meeting of kind of the deplorable condition the playground is in. We went and walked the area. From the ground standpoint, we got in there and cleaned up a bunch of the weeds and a lot of stuff that was overgrown. There's a few other items that we have to cross off. We replaced a few more elements through in there. There was a climbing net that it had its time, the rubber was cracking. So we replaced that this week. You want to speak towards?
So we put in for the Lions Club for their next charities budget, which I think opens like July 1st. The money to re-level the brick walkway. So they would pull out all the bricks, clean it, put up on the sand and then reinstall it. So it's back to level and looking like it's being maintained. Hopefully the money gets through.
There's some chipping of the paint on the columns where the benches are. Facilities and Doug Solitz guys will get out there, scrape everything down, repaint those. The top parts of them are in pretty good shape because we sent those out probably 10 years ago to get sandblasted and powder coated. So those are okay. So I think we're turning in the right direction. And like we've said, we know that that playground now is 22 years old. It's past its prime. It's just met its match. We're going to do a small little field clinic there. There's a couple of wear patterns on the rubber, and there's no company that'll come out and do small patches. So we're going to try to do the seminar inside, and we're going to learn to do it. So we're going to try to fix the patches in house, and pray for the best on that. So we can cross that off the list.
What about the xylophone thing?
Yeah,
Xylophone thing, we just haven't had a time to get in there and pressure wash it, so that's.
yeah, have some.
Yeah.
You know that stuff, wet and forget,
Yep,
spray it on there.
it's been wet enough now to be dry, but yes, great idea.
That's great, Tony. Lions.
See it.
It's not cheap. Couple other things on the monthly report is we had a huge water problem that was happening at Centerelli Field. The water was just rushing down the parking lot, flooding the bathroom. So the guys went out there, regraded everything, put a nice pitch, so now the water is sheeting to the right and to the left. If you get to go down there, we just put a brand new trench drainage system of like 600 feet around the base of the hill. So now as the water's coming down the hill, not only is it gonna divert, not flood the building, it's gonna go into the drain pipe, carry us in, and then it'll go out towards the retention pond. So the guys did an amazing job there, if you haven't seen it. Over the winter, a tree fell and hit part of one of the old pavilions, sleeping areas out at the Girl Scout camp. They crushed it, so the guys spent about 2 days out there. We demolished that, broke it all down, got rid of the safety hazard, hauled that all the way. So the guys did an amazing job on that as well. Like I said, it's been a lot of positive things in the last month and a lot of stuff getting done in a short period of time. Next one is we'll go to disc golf. So we went to council, we discussed disc golf. After the conversation of disc golf, there was a couple of conversations regarding safety. Had there been any, somebody researched it and there have been some injuries. They wanted to know exactly the lay of the course. Would the course ever cross a cart path or cross a walking path? How does disc golf have a role in a usable park that we have? So we kind of dove into that a little bit. I reached out to Doug in Bristol. They currently have 2 disc golf courses. One is Elite and Premier, and then the other one, and a couple of them are through some walking trails. And they've had no injuries, no complaints. They all use the area and everybody's very respectful. So hopefully the week of the 24th, we're gonna meet back out there with everybody that came here and go out there and walk it and really plot the course so we can bring that back to town council. And you guys, and Jen will bring it back to you guys, I won't, but bring it back to you guys and be like, hey, this is the final design of the way we want to go. So it's gonna push it back a couple of months of how soon we would have had everything installed, but we just want to make sure that we're gonna do it right and everybody's happy and know there's gonna.
The commission, if they wanted to just join in on that walk, just to become more familiar with
Yeah,
it.
yeah, that's fine. I mean, I think as long as,
Less than 4.
yeah,
Well,
My-
it's less than 4.
my thought process is I'm gonna reach out to Saul, see if we can borrow a couple golf carts that day
Yeah.
to be able
that's
to
good.
drive it.
Yeah.
Because it's probably gonna be plus of 10 miles that we'll probably have to walk, because it's all different. It's easier for everybody to just go and I think, so, or we'll bring our UTVs out there, but we'll find a way to transport everybody.
Could you just send out an email to the commissioners, just with the date, time, just, Don's not here, so. just-
Yeah, the group and organization has not been responsible for narrowing. So until they narrow down the day and it works out everybody's schedule, we won't.
That's great. Thanks for taking care of the council.
Yep, and the last one is the Berlin Police Association. Last year, the Berlin Police Association had a softball game on Stage 1. We let them use it. They're just asking and requesting to do it again. I don't think they just play as a fun. We're gonna play, the Berlin Police is gonna play Kensington Fire Department. Sometime in September, nobody else is using the field is wide open. We'll bring a guy in to do a little line and make it look good for the day. I just think it's a nice way to get back to our first responders.
That's great.
28 minutes.
I got any questions, but no. The flowers look very nice, by the way. You guys did a nice job.
Yeah, I think
How many guys did, or how many towns did you get at Field Day?
we had 40 guys, so we figured I'd grab around 12 or 13 towns. And last year it was held in Meriden and they did it on synthetic turf. Company came in called Replay. This time was at our field and it's Jimmy Gore came in from Champion Sports. Turf Products was there and Atlantic, the guy we buy our grass from. So we're so centrally located, we have everything right there. So it really worked out well and we're hoping to be able to bring different topics and bring different organizations in. Kind of geeky stuff that kind of makes us all.
All account.
You know, Mike,
Grass seed fertilizer, we got growing mats, that's our new thing. We don't know how that, so growing mat is you take your penalty box, your crease or whatever sport you want to have, and you buy it, it's like a thin piece of plastic. And it acts like the greenhouse effect. So as you put the field to rest for the season, you put these down and it works throughout the year with hot, cold, and it gets your field and grass germinated to reestablish the areas that get so much abuse. So that's, it started in the golf course injury industry and now it's moved into the grounds. And we're really hoping that the company will donate some pieces of it so we can see if it works. We have a couple wear areas on Stage 2 that I think are small enough to make it work. The south end of Sage Auxiliary is a lost cause, so we're looking to refurbish that. But, you know, there's other small little areas that I think it would work great.
My daughter played, or my granddaughter, just started playing T-ball in Cromwell. And I just want to tell you, for at least the fields that she's played on, or what they call fields, hands down, our fields are so much better. I mean, so much better, like, I was really surprised at the condition of their field, so credit to all you guys and everybody here too, that made a big difference in the field, so thank you.
My son's doing travel soccer and we had a game in Naugatuck. And during warmups, I'm the crazy parent, I kind of walk the field just because now I'm familiar with it and I'm sending him pictures like, look at this hole, look at this divot,
Yeah.
it's awful.
Yeah.
Now you notice it
Yeah,
so
yeah,
much
yeah.
more.
Yeah, it's,
But to defend Cromwell, and this is how much it varies from one town to the next. Cromwell has 4 full-time employees. And they try to do as much work as we do.
Yep.
I mean, thank
Yep.
God we have a wonderful council and a wonderful commission who backs it and supports us, and we do a lot more than everybody else does. But if I had to do that with 4 guys, and 2 guys were on vacation, I don't know how you can manage
yeah,
that.
fair enough.
How many guys do you have?
We have 9 full-time guys, 7 seasonal. I mean, and then you go over to Newington, Newington has 13 or 14. So like, it's such a difference, and if we do, I think us in Newington are the most comparable with what is expected of us, property wise and maintenance wise, and we are 5 guys short of them. So manpower makes a huge difference.
Yeah, there's always reasons for it.
Do you want to talk about the walkathon?
Yeah.
Maybe we don't need to vote on it, we just kind of need to discuss and see if you guys support it or anything I need to tell them. Obviously, with 150 people, the email would go to the chief and deputy chief of, hey, this event is going on and it's expected to have 150 people, please make sure you get in touch with them and let them know how many police they need and they know they're responsible for the police costs. Other than that, I don't know if you guys have any questions or concerns.
Like it.
Okay. All right, no, Debbie's not here.
Debbie's not here.
Hello,
Been running around a lot lately. Pools are set to open. Pools open Saturday. Camp starts Monday. Ally's been calling people nonstop to get them to turn their paperwork in because when they register online, they still have to submit paperwork for their campers. So I think we're down to 6 when I left today that we had to, you know, track down. So she's in tomorrow so she can finish doing that. Lifeguards are good. We're still accepting anyone with a WSI certification. However, it will be limited lifeguarding hours because we are pretty well set on lifeguards now.
So there won't be limited, did you say, or there will be?
If a WSI came in tomorrow and had the certification, she would still look to hire them because we don't have a lot of WSIs.
Gotcha.
But the actual lifeguarding hours would be limited. You're not gonna walk in tomorrow with WSI and get 40 hours a week.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the
Oh, I see
lifeguards we
what you're
have, we
saying.
do
Yeah,
have,
okay.
I mean, even, you know, there's one week where I think we have a couple out on vacation, but Matt J, the aquatics director, was able to make it work and we look like we're good. And then there are some weeks where nobody's on vacation, so hours will be limited and they all understand that.
Any questions, comments, or no?
Steve, I had a bear in my yard Sunday. How often do you see bear?
So
Oh.
I will tell you that I believe the last youth soccer game was going on at the high school on
Yeah.
Saturday
Yes,
and a bear was.
Yes.
Mario
Walk by,
Kart.
yes.
And then we had a bear in the grove, so, I mean, not often,
Wow.
And that
very rare.
And yours was
That
past
bear-
I saw.
Yeah, Bear walked
Thanks,
down,
those are scary.
down Terry, and then cut through somebody's backyard.
He's going right through my yard, walking right on my porch. Wow.
It's probably all the cooking smells. Too much honey.
Just a reminder, our July meeting is pushed to July 18th. That is the 3rd Thursday. I will try to send out numerous reminders so everyone knows, but just mark it down now that we're a
I
month
probably
away.
won't see you guys till October, so,
Why are you looking at me?
October.
no,
Yeah,
Where you
maybe
going?
both times, or you got,
I have a clinic in North Carolina the weekend of the 17th. And then football season starts the weekend that you guys.
can it, on the, Dora Dindo pool complex, we got it started
We've been in contact with KBA, we're waiting for the contract from them. We're hoping that that's a quick turnaround, so I talked to Jim Mahoney today. We're thinking that the paperwork is gonna come out for the grant sometime in the latter part of July. So we need to have the feasibility done for them so we can apply for the grant. So we've been really on top of KBA, making sure we get the paperwork and everything from them, but, you know,
So timing is still about the same.
we think so.
I also, you know, for some commission members, and thank you for those that came. I spoke at the last town council meeting on the community senior center. There was some fair discussions going back and forth. The architect presented his, our statement of need. That he worked with us. Beyond that, he did bring up the cost, you know, saying round numbers, including everything, soft costs and everything, $1,000 per square foot. And I think the town council choked. Surprise, surprise. And then, there was nothing in writing to that effect, which I was kind of surprised about, because that was part of his contract, and also he was supposed to speak, which he made a general comment about. Is there another place, buildings, whatever, that we can put our statement of needs, put a senior center and the community center? We asked for, could we do it somewhere else that may be already built, owned by the town? And he just generally said, just, you know, going around knowing the properties that he knows, no, it would be much more expensive. The town would have to add on to the pool, to any existing facility. He made a comment that the senior center is on its last leg, that type of thing. The mayor spoke and said, geez, he thinks it's underutilized in the senior center. When he goes there, no one's there. Senior center is quite full. It has lots of activities. Obviously, there is need for more activities for the seniors. He also challenged us about, you know, perhaps we could use the schools more than what we're using schools for. We do use schools for, like elementary schools, we use them for our basketball program and things like that in the winter. He made it sound like the high school, because the high school has 2 gyms. There's so much availability that we should be thinking about using those for some, maybe pickleball or whatever. There is no availability. The gyms.
And thankfully, I don't remember her name, the female Democratic counselor backed me on that she's Berlin Bears cheer coach, and thankfully she backed me on, look, we do use the schools and it is hard to get in, because I felt like he just wasn't getting
We
it.
actually ran a summer basketball camp. I know the girls did with Kinger, coach, years ago, and we couldn't use the gym now because they use it for some other reason. So, you know, I was disappointed, as chair of the Parks and Rec, at some of the comments and the questions from the town council. That's just my comment. They were probably disappointed with what I had to say too, but I don't think there's been anything done on the Y from their part. They're supposed to study the Y. I don't think they've started that. Perhaps they'll take our statement to the Y and ask them to come in. I made a comment to that effect. I asked them to speak to us, let us know where they stand. And they said, well, we got to come in. The Y came in, presented, they said they presented the Meriden Y, 33,000 square foot facility. And talked about some things, but that's all they did. They didn't talk about what they could do here in Berlin. So, and I was pretty disappointed. From my view, you guys were there, you might have a different view. I don't think this thing is gonna move on. And it's disappointing, because all we're gonna do is raise costs sometime in the future. If they don't do a start. And that being said, one thing that I did know is that in Meriden, after several months, maybe even longer of discussion, Meriden just will be bonding $25 million for a brand new senior center, including a health department that will be attached, kind of separate from a senior center. The total facility cost of that, based on everything I read, is somewhere in the mid-40s. I don't know square footage, I don't know anything, but they just put up 25 of the 40, the 44 million to get started and get going. I was hoping maybe, they could think about that.
That was because the mayor, he vetoed, they didn't want to, the town didn't want to do it, but Scarpati said, we're gonna do it. And they said, no, we're not. But he vetoed his proposal and said, we can go through this all day long, but we're gonna do this.
Yeah, it was two meetings. They voted it down and they said, no, we're not gonna let this go, brought it to the next meeting. It was not a unanimous decision by the council, but we did
Right,
put it
but
through,
they-
because they knew he was just gonna be
They
there
are
for
bonding.
rejection.
And they're moving ahead. Despite the fact that the Meriden Berlin in Britain Y operates in Meriden, has their facility there with the pools that we use for our high school activities. So it's a very vital organization, but it does not replace a senior and community center. Towns have to, should be providing those types of things. So that being said, provided that information to our town council. we can go from there. Yep.
Stated that we were disappointed in
Yeah.
comments and questions. Were you surprised?
Actually, I kind of was.
And I'm not trying to
Some of some of these comments, like the senior center is
Surprised at
underutilized.
the ignorance.
That's right, they have no.
And the
They have-
high
yes, he has absolutely no clue what's going on.
Right,
He's speaking out of turn, saying the mayor. He's speaking without knowledge and he's just putting himself on the record, you know?
So I also think that, you know, the start of all this, and I apologize, I wanted to be there, I couldn't, we had customers from out of country. But at the start of all this, we talked about, are we just going through another exercise? And it kind of sounds like, yeah. You know, we a lot of people, you know, people put in work, time, effort, and energy to put together a package. And I hate
and
to
the
see
town
it.
paid money to this architect to work with us.
Yeah.
Not that that wasn't deserved by the architect, I think he did a fair job.
Oh, you did a great
You
Two
know,
architects.
if we're not gonna move on things, don't spend money.
Well, yeah, I mean. Yeah, it's, you made the comment, and I think it's so appropriate. And so the mayor and Meriden stood up and said, we need this. It's kind of like you don't see anybody in our town council. At least I don't, maybe people are behind the scenes that just don't see it. You just don't see anybody standing up and saying, we need this. We need to do this for our seniors. It's for our kids.
They need to hear from the public. And if they don't hear from the public, they're not gonna do anything.
So I hear what you're saying, Tom, but I kind of look at it the other way. At a certain point, leadership in the community, mayor, town council, they have to stand up and say, this is where we want to be 10 or 15 years down. So they got to send that message out to get the people to get engaged and give them feedback as to whether they do it. They're not even doing that.
He did, the mayor did say that he'll be holding some type of public town meeting at some point. Present this, whatever this is, and why. I don't know. I tried even to get him to allow the architect to do a design, a simple design.
Yeah.
Because you don't wanna go to the public with a bunch of squares saying, well, this is the size of this road compared to this road, you know, which is what we have, and the statement in need. People don't understand, I wouldn't understand, so.
Yeah, that's a great architectural tool for what they do as architects, but it's not.
Right,
Like,
and the architect, from what I understand, the architect also asked them to do that. And he was turned down. I didn't know that until after I had asked.
So I'll be the first one to say, if it comes to a public vote and we're voting on a community center, as we discussed, where it's in town, run by the town, so on and so, I'm 3,000% behind it. But if it's something that we're sharing with the town of Meriden, or some kind of sharing with the Y, I I would struggle with it. The only thing that would sway me one way or the other is what does it do for the Berlin High School swim team, which I think out of all the sports we have, taking that away from the other sports. But out of all the sports we have, I think that they do a phenomenal job with those kids. Sportsmanship, team spirit, supporting each other. They do a great job and they don't have a facility in town. I mean, it's just, I think they get screwed.
I think when they look at the Y, yeah, they definitely have to cover that, but they have to figure out how the Y would provide the townspeople access, when and how long. Because without that, we're gonna still need a pool.
Yeah.
Percival is over 50 years old. We're gonna still need other things. So,
I hate to say it's, I don't remember.
but they haven't even looked at it. So,
I hate saying that.
I don't know, the others that were there, you can view it on YouTube as well as,
It was a fairly ugly meeting, in totality. Even with the two voter registration people asking for a raise. And they asked them to do some things, and they did it, and they were given them, yeah, the rest of it. It wasn't a good look if you were a town employee. It wasn't a good look for the council, I don't think. Except for some of the people that spoke up. The woman, like Jen said, the Democrat, Kate.
Back and said, thank you.
But even Donna Beach said, if somebody works, they should get paid. It was pretty bad.
it's kind of beyond our commission, but
It is, yeah.
Any other comments or?
Did a great job.
Yeah, you did a great
job.
It was awesome. So really, very proud to be a part of it. You
Oh, thanks, I appreciate
giving that
that.
presentation.
It's all of these, and it's these people, and Jen took some tough questions. And by the way, the videotapes,
Yeah.
Karen Hinsworth did speak. They gave approval, but they want to see the product before it goes out to the public.
She also got some criticism.
Yeah, she
did a
got,
very
She also handled some difficult
Yeah.
questions such as, why now?
And,
You have a resident
who
coming
brought
up
this
willing
up?
to do something for you and you say, why now?
yeah,
Like,
who brought this
She
up?
was,
You know,
she called me the next
Gets
morning.
away with it because no one calls about it when he says stuff like that. There's 3 Democrats sitting there. They barely say anything.
She called me the next morning. She was a little put off by
Yeah,
that.
I'm kidding.
I talked to her too, and she said, that just makes me want to do this more. Yeah.
Right, so hopefully will get done probably, if not later this summer, early fall. They're coordinating, the high school is gonna work with them to get that piece done, and also with the staff.
Yep, we have a tentative meeting scheduled. She's waiting to hear back from the high school people to see if they can make it.
Okay, so that's positive. So. Okay, anything else? All right,
I'd like to make a motion, we adjourn.
second Joe, all in favor? Aye.
I think 48.